I've never been married because I wasn't healthy enough to support myself. I didn't know that I'd been crippled, you know, a little bit, a couple times as a kid. Doctors are lying to me. I didn't know I had homies, fucking retards following me around that whole time and allowing things to occur which left my community the consequences. This is Islam. I don't know what you think it's called, but apparently this is the Saudi equivalent of protection for a kid that turns out to be defective because when he was 3 years old he kicked the shit out of an 8-year-old. I have a reason for everything I do. Neighbor caught me topping off a bottle of the real thing. I said, what are you doing with it? Make him drink it. He didn't ask why, but I mean, you act like I'm the boss or it's eye for an eye, whatever. You're not gonna ban waterboarding. 5th grade, they put a kid with uniquely primitive phrenology in the seat next to me in the front of the class. I asked sincerely, it was not a loaded. I just said, does he look like a monkey? I wasn't trying to. I just wanted a second opinion. And he thought it was funny, but then he saw a look on the teacher's face, and then he wanted to fight. And then I was racist behind my back, not my face. You can't just manipulate someone's women, try to force them to comply, and like if you're gonna punish them to teach me a lesson, you don't even have to actually hurt her. You know, you just make it. Let me see it look like you're hurting her, and I'll stab you in the leg. Islam doesn't believe in dogs. They have no experience actually training anything. They plan to keep slave raiding corporate cult. You can't approach my queen for diplomatic purposes, binding contractual obligation, absent church or state, expect me to know what's going on. How stupid you gotta be. We didn't have an arrangement, so I guess you just send somebody out there, like, make it look like I consented to something I had no idea of, so you can justify a mistake because it's not a real religion. It's just you getting over. We're not obligated to go to war for this, Washington. We're certainly not obligated to honor the payment for this service. You can't invoke the Bill of Rights to target a little kid and abuse him until it bears fruit. This is going to be why I wasn't allowed to complete my military occupation of choice, and I wanted to retire with a pension and join the Merchant Marine, but barring that, like, I was doing pretty well before everything turns out it's political. Like, there's been situations that prove beyond like a reasonable doubt. Anybody who was betting on it would have folded. Like, it never, like, it has occurred to me at times that I might be retarded. You know, never once has it ever occurred to me that I might be prefer the company of men. These guys are trying to make a gay cokehead out of me for decades. So what? I mean, what's your approach to Islam? You're a sucker. You buy into something that doesn't pay out, so you turn into a terrorist. I should have some little terrorist mind in 5th grade by now. I've been asking all these various Americans if I could speak to a grown-up. Like, if it's these guys protecting me, could I speak to a human? Act like you're doing me any favors when I wasn't asking you for anything. But you act like you could just take something you overheard and like further your agenda, and it comes at me sideways. I'm supposed to be grateful, completely out of the blue. It's the religion of God. Or if I object to something, I hate that. We're just, well, we're gonna go ahead and buy it for you anyway. it wasn't justified. Washington, Jerusalem, Rome, if you can hear me, it was never justified, because there's a few things you have to take into account. The situation, was it avoidable? Was it my choice? Was it loss of control? Was it consecrated? It's not just, oh, his intent makes him crazy, because we all learn by making mistakes. But if you jump in with both feet, knowing you're going to get burned, like, you might be a danger to yourself. I don't need the Taliban's protection. They need protection from me. Maybe we should send somebody. So I was accused of some kind of information related. I've never breached anybody's security. I've never forged a signature. I'm not here to just fulfill your every fantasy too. If Washington wasn't so haram, like, I might expect some kind of sincere approach, but just because you heard me having a bad time doesn't mean it was my fault. When you practice psychology, like, every patient has a different, it's a new project. When you stop treating it like every patient has their own problem, and you just need to give certain pills to people until we figure out what they do. In Islam, everybody's crazy. You're either the slave of the prophet or the infidel. So when you start doing that, you're just doing the dirty work. I guarantee you, we don't owe these people that much where they get to tell me what to do. You can't afford that. And I'm not trying to shock the economy. Like, we could repurpose some of these man hours, so a little more productive. IQ test the FBI would be probably the most logical first, most practical, efficient, and effective first step, because now there's a frame of reference for just how stupid you pretend the federal government is, and then that can be carried over in other market sectors. Keep these people working. I mean, it doesn't have to be a permanent economic staple. A lot of people invested in a career that turned out to be assistant Taliban. But diplomatically speaking, other than Donald Trump, I don't believe there's a qualified sovereignty on the land in America to challenge our national diplomatic sovereignty, because I said so. I don't believe that you're dumb enough to think that I was actively communicating with you, let alone them. And the only guy I know, since '92, with the kind of pull to get away with that without causing a fracas, ran away. And it's been 7 years, and I just there's nobody out there with this kind of axe to grind. Never justified a religious assertion from any individual who didn't have the opportunity to address it to my face. So, legally and religiously speaking, there's no excuse for you not to use your job. I mean, these people are speaking, interpreting my writings and completely just to their agenda. They don't care what my intent is, or who I'm talking to, or the circumstances, or just a coincidence. They're ripping off people that playing me against people that one way or the other, they would never say it to either of our faces, because you're just letting them get away with it. I have, cases to turn over, rewards to claim. I could probably, I mean, not for myself personally, I don't expect 100% of what I can account for, but I can offset whatever they think you owe them. No accounting for their phony baloney religion, but aside from the global enslavement aspiration part of it, we haven't turned that peninsula into a glass parking lot yet, because why? The United Nations? Not their biggest fan either.